What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you, Anna. Good morning, Bill, Brian, Cheryl. Good morning to Jay, Lisa, Lauren, Lucian, Martina. Good morning to Matthew, Mike, Peter's in the house. Shane, Tim is rocking with us. Good morning to all my peeps in YouTube land, all my lurkers in the background. It's okay, I still love you. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe buttons. But we were fading. We were actually jumping a little bit pre-market. I think yesterday after hours we started tanking, so the market's still. I would say I think confidently that market is still looking a little volatile, but then we did have the job numbers come out, and they did come in pretty decently less than expected. So lighter than expected. Keep in mind the sell-off really started to get serious. I would presume on that Friday. Thursday with bearish engulfing candle. Friday's where we got the gap down on the numbers. The jobless claims that came out on Friday kind of helped push everything in motion. We did have a little bit of rally. Question is it enough for the bulls to get excited about? Is it enough for them to carry this one home and give us that next new higher high? Or is it just another opportunity to sell the rips? So far, even though we did have a good move, even though we had a good move on the SPY from the reaction of the job numbers, unfortunately, we're just right in 50% retracement of yesterday's candle. I think we were probably a little bit higher than here, pulled back a little bit at this point. Let me just double check. Kind of still towards the highs of that move. So there's some hope. The big spot that I want to stay above, 521.26. So it is inside day. I would imagine we probably come back and retest this 521.26. That's my level. I want to see if this thing holds. We never really got down to retest this previous little support, which would come in at 516.86. So that's still on the table. This was a bearish engulfing candle. I would say sentiment still a little bit to the bear side, but what those job numbers do is kind of calms down the market a little bit. Maybe that last jobless report was just a blip in time and that was it. Again, if we start getting supporting data that the recession and probably the next big thing that we're really looking for is going to be inflation again, see if that's still kind of coming down. But if the jobless number is going to represent the economy, the ability to have people find jobs, keep the economy moving, if that's coming down, which so far this one was a little bit better, and I think that at least pauses the market for a little bit, and we probably have to wait for something else. But higher end range is 526.02. If we start breaking that, we could make a case we're getting back to this 531.33. I don't think it's going to be easy. We probably have the opening price, which is right at that 100 mark. But I would still continue to lean to the bullish direction as long as we could break through 526, a couple pennies higher, 526.19, something like that. So if we get higher than that, but for right now, that's my resistance. My support is not that far away. That's going to be 521.26. And we'll see. We'll see if we can at least remain inside day in these volatile markets that every day is just some craziness. Last 2 days before we get to the Qs, let's just take a look. Last few days, smaller time frames. What did we end up really doing? So we hung out for a while, right at open. We chopped around. We were figuring out our direction for the day, even though it had a little bit of range in here. Beautiful double top, and then we just sank all day and melted. What did we do at open the day before? Let's not even get to the open yet, but the day before kind of rose. Okay, all bulls coming in, everything looks strong, and then we just sold off. So we're having good volatility, we're having good range. Next day we actually gap up, and then again it just does not hold, and we start coming lower than a lot of the previous data, especially in the after hours. So wild time still. I don't think we're completely safe. I think we do still probably need a little bit more data for us to get some kind of decision of are we lower or not. Sideways chop would be good. I'd take some sideways chop, allow this 200 to kind of creep up a little bit closer, and that would give us a little bit more confidence that maybe we get some kind of a bounce and then run. Otherwise, we're still in limbo. I don't think we've I don't think we really made a clear decision yet. I think the current trend still a little bit to the bear side, and any of the bulls are really just kind of hoping for some kind of a bounce. And honestly, I think most of the market kind of hoping for not too much more pain after this, but we will see. Qs, another inside day. Again, we are about 50% retracement. This was a bearish engulfing candle yesterday. And we got very close down to that 200. That would be our second interaction with it. I did not like the close of the Qs. So again, we still have that 200. We could get a bounce. We tried it here for the bulls. Not the fact that we got down to this 435.80. So I do think if we get down to 435.80, that's my support for today. But I think it is a little bit weaker. I think it is able to break. And then we might see some more fireworks to the downside if we start getting kind of close to that direction. However, roughly about 50% retracement, probably at this point a little under it. Look for support around or resistance somewhere around 443.15, some of that direction. And then if we can break through that, that would actually flip it to a little bit more bullish sentiment. Again, not complete. Hey, I'm buying everything. I'm in this thing bullish. But if we can start getting some closes above that, at least that's one hurdle out of the way. We kind of now are above two different huge support levels. It looks like we're kind of carrying it up. But probably looking for about 446.46 as our high volatility spot. That's probably where our bigger resistance is. The one thing I can say, even though that was not a great close, our VPOC did stay up pretty strong. So most of the volume was still up here. And we're just dwindling inside day candle. If you guys got tickers, let me know. We could throw those into the chat and pull those up. Clarice has Hood. Yeah, Hood came in with earnings. They were actually pretty good. Pretty good earnings for Hood. So they beat by 34%, which relates to 5 cents earnings per share. They came in at a $41 million beat. Honestly, I think Hood would be up a heck of a lot more if they reported these numbers in a different market. This is the market where if you report bad numbers, you get killed. If you report good numbers, you're just thankful for a break even. you're just hoping like, oh man, momentum for the everybody else is getting killed. At least we live to see another day. But those were really good numbers for Hood, so not bad there. It's going to keep us above that crucial 200, so fantastic there. In terms of a day trade, we might have one. So I'm looking for my support around 1791. I don't see much more. There's a few levels over here we did already kind of get through, so I don't know how strong they are. But right where we're opening is kind of that last little resistance. The next spot up, and again, it's not a huge one, but $19.30. I think Hood has a little bit of room to go. Let's throw that higher on the chart. I did put a couple of other ones that there wasn't too many that I found today that I was like, yes, look at the range, look at all this amazingness. But I think Hood does qualify as a decent look to go long. You're trapping maybe some bears, even from the close of or the latter half of Friday. You're starting to trap some of those guys. We do have a little bit of room higher, so probably a good candidate for a little pullback, high wave candle, something like that. Look to take a break. Or if we come down and retest this 1795 zone, would be a decent spot to look to go long if it wants to pull back. But yeah, gap and go does look decent. We got 4 shift for payments. Beat earnings per share by 10%, almost 11% by 9 pennies. They did come in at 6.5 million above revenue, so a slight beat in revenue, nothing too crazy. But you do have a good gap. It was a beat, which is important. Also a gap and go. This is one I gotta look at I have to look at the short float on 4. I don't know if it's big. 16%, not that 32% we found yesterday. 16% is still pretty decent. You have a ton of resistance up here. Absolute monster resistance. Everywhere from 68.50 all the way up to 69.57. So I think that's probably your high of the day in like a really good, like that's my bullish case. Maybe, I mean, anything could happen. So maybe we do start breaking out and we get crazy with the 16% short float. Where are we at longer term with them? We just kind of stagnating in the middle. Yeah, we're in a zone where these bears with 16% short float are really going to try to defend. High short float, almost. I mean, we have, I guess we still have a long way to go to the $100 mark. But this could be setting up as some kind of inverted head and shoulders. If you're one of those 16% short float people, you don't want to see these pivots break. We'll push this one up on the list a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to day trade it. Again, it was good earnings. We have the opportunity for a squeeze. I think if you're playing it, you're playing it more as a squeeze thing. It gets through that resistance, but I'm not sure that they're going to be able to do that. And I wouldn't play it for a fade after coming in good numbers. If you are trying to play it to a fade, I think your target to the downside is about 66.29, and then I'd be out on that one. Coinbase, COIN. Probably a little sympathy off of Hood. Hood, and I guess the rest of the market's kind of moving too. Um, Again, halfway of yesterday, look for support around 180.05. I think if that one starts to break, next target to the downside is about 160, 152. Any volume, anything like that to save us? Not really. Not really. And then resistance above you is going to come in plus the 200, somewhere around 190.77. So that'd be your upside target. A little bit tighter range from where we're opening now. I would either have to see us get into this 190.77, see if we get any good candles to go short there. Otherwise, get down to this 180 zone, 180.05, and then either make the case where that's the spot where we're going to bounce, and I would base that off of what Bitcoin is doing as we get down there, plus the rest of the market. Or if we want to play it short, we have to wait for the kind of probably the break of 180, come back, retest, and then I think we get clobbered on that one. So a lot of that is going to be wait and see, unfortunately. A lot of that's going to be some wait and see. I did see on my list Lilly, and I know they reported earnings and absolutely crushed it as well. So they came in with a 43% beat to the higher side. So they beat earnings per share by $1.19 above expectations. They also beat above expectations only by like a 1.34 billion. So the slight calculation error. Somebody forgot to round to zero, I guess, but that's a massive beat in terms of surprise revenue. So they reported for the quarter $11 billion, which is crazy. But Eli, nice little gap up. I don't think Eli Lilly probably has a good short float, or any whatsoever. Let's see. And it is already up pretty massive. Short float, yeah, very, very small, under 1% short float. Um, I'm seeing if there's any more juice or this already got its push. Mm, Only other thing I could really do, it might have gone too far. For me to really get good risk reward. Trying to figure out how I'd want to play this thing. We're almost at the 618. You also have good VPOC up there. Do I want to play this one for a fade? I don't know. I don't know. I do like Eli Lilly as a company in general. We're up pretty big on this one. Uh look for I would say look for this probable 881.21, maybe 883, somewhere in that zone. If you're going to try to fade it, that would at least get you good risk reward to the downside. But you're probably trapping some decent amount of bears, a couple days of build up. You still have this candle you have to compete with. Your confirmation on this one that we go higher is 910.64. I would even venture out to say 916.45. We could start getting close above that. But then you're looking for gap fill, and then really, if you're taking that trade, you're thinking new higher highs. To go long, I don't think with those reports we really get that big of a pullback. I would say target to the downside, you're looking for about 850.93. If that starts to break, then we get a little bit crazier, and you're looking for some kind of bounce at 831.33. But that was a little tough, a little bit. Let's see. Lake Life Trading says job numbers beat, so that's good. It is good. It's not bad. Let's put it like that. It's not bad. Yeah, it at least pauses the market and shifts some of the narrative. Even like the Fed future rate going from like a 50% cut to back to a 25, like the odds of a 50% cut shifted downwards a little bit. So that is at least like, okay, maybe there is a slight overreaction. Maybe that was just a one-off job report on Friday. And I think it at least pauses us to the next data set, worst case. But maybe stop some of the immediate bleeding. It doesn't mean that doesn't necessarily mean we go bullish, but I think it does put a little pause to some of the selling, and we'll see how it plays out. But and I'm not sure what numbers come out tomorrow, but tomorrow's Friday. There's always something pre-market, so if someone could tell me what comes out tomorrow, that'd be fantastic. But that would be kind of the next data set that we're looking at. But survive for another day, and maybe we get some Fed talk today too. AMD is just hanging out. I don't actually even love this open. So again, we had the little run up from the report. We got that news. It's settling in at the moment. And you're telling me that AMD right now can't even get above that VPOC from a couple days ago, 132.19. So I'm looking at AMD in a little bit of a chop phase, chop state. Nothing too crazy. I can't really go bullish here. There's just way too much resistance, and I prefer almost be leaning bearish still on AMD. Let's see, next target down. Yeah, there's not a lot of volume. I guess the next little spots of volume that we've just been putting in somewhere around this 130.70 all the way down to like 129.71. But realistically, bigger picture, we still have lots and lots of resistance above this 139.25. So I'd have to get up there for real confirmation. And then we still have room all the way back down to this 118, 120 zone. So just I don't really have any edge, except for maybe bearish if you want to kind of continue that trend down, but it is down a lot. TDD. Um, so we got a red candle. This one actually held up pretty pretty decently considering all things, but yesterday was a little bit of a gap up. Earnings are when? Thursday tonight, huh? All right, so we got earnings tonight. Oh, wait. Is that tonight? Yeah, August 8th. That's today, right? All right. Well, earnings are coming out. They did have a gap up yesterday. This is a retest. At least we closed at the 200 and we're gapping up above that. I think we probably pull back on this one. Next resistance, which we did mess around with at least once yesterday. So a little bit weaker. Probably could break through it. But that's 87.38. And question is, can we break through it before the earnings come out? I don't know. It is down pretty well off its highs. So the all-time highs, I thought we got even higher than that. Yeah, all-time highs were somewhere around 114, 115. So current price sitting at 86. You got a lot of room to get back there. I think I'd almost want to play this as another retest. See if this thing wants to drop back down first. I don't think I have enough risk reward to play this thing bullish out of the gate. But if we get any type of action somewhere around 85.40, they want to pull back. At least I could probably set up a decent risk reward play there. That's where I think we get a bounce. Do we absolutely run bullish after we hit that? I don't know. We do have earnings coming in. It's not a company I follow too much. So I don't know if it's like people are extra bullish on this thing or not. Oxy, I do have on my list. Yep. That was one that I looked at pre-market. So we'll pull that one up too. Um, Celsius. I thought they reported 2 days ago, didn't they? Yeah, 2 days ago. And then what happens? Oh, and then a downgrade. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, so my price target of Celsius, at least the first spot I'd probably be interested in somewhere around 33.89. That downgrade is calling for 32. I don't know what they're basing their downgrade on. Um, but yeah, somewhere in that 32 range, even like to the 30s. So I think it has a little bit more room to come lower. It is a retest gap at open, but you were breaking through everything at this point. I think we probably have room to the downside. Look for a bounce. It is a retest gap, so look for a little bit of a bounce. See if we can get closer into the first spot. I would look to go short 37.92, and then maybe we could get back into that full on retest from yesterday. Um, I don't know how much risk to reward we have at this point. Again, it is a company that is still at this level very expensive. So just be careful if you're thinking long-term investing. Not saying to do it, not giving you advice, more or less just saying do some due diligence on the company and see if it does fit your investment planning. If you do want to consider it, for me, I would need this thing a lot lower. Just the valuation is still kind of nutty for me. That's again, it's just me. Um, but I think this one probably does have to come a little bit lower. Day trade wise, not probably taking this one bearish at open. I'd have to wait. So Oxy was an interesting one. I don't know. I don't know. We've seen it in this range for a little bit. We do have I mean, yesterday was also a retest gap. Oh no. Yeah, technically. So we opened up here. It was after a red candle, but that red candle, I don't know. That was actually kind of more of a gap and go. We gapped up, small like little retracement. We gapped up further. Uh Interesting close. Not a great location for that close. So we are probably trapping. Yeah, I think we're trapping some bears on this one. Um, if we could get a pullback, because technically it was. I mean, that's an inside candle, so I'd really go off of this, which would make more retesting than anything. I think I'd want to see a pullback to 57.03. That would get me better risk reward. Targets on this one, and I think this is my stretch target for today, would be about 59.11. We need a lot of things to go right for that. Otherwise, we do have some resistance from back here. So first target I'd kind of look at is about 57.66. And then maybe we get to like this 58.23 again. A really good day on Oxy will get us back in that 59 zone. But we have a lot to kind of clear through that one. You got to be extra bullish for that one. But yeah, see if this one wants to pull back a little bit, $57 range would be decent. But it out of everything, I mean, Hood has some good room. Oxy has some good room. The other one with interesting room on it is CrowdStrike. That I was looking at pre-market. I was like, okay, Crowd. Again, retest gap. So still inside day. It is a gap and go, but inside. I'd like to see if we could pull this one back to 230, 280 on Crowd. So even a high wave candle, and that's a $3 move. That could be $3 at open. Easy enough. This one's got a lot of room up to 255.17. You probably will have to scramble a little bit or panic or move stop somewhere close to 247.48. That's the first spot I would look for. But if the market is running, probably especially the Qs, I would assume, do pick up more than expected bullishness, which at any point of time in this market, August has been so crazy. But look for that 254.78 a little bit longer term. So I think this one's got some room. We obviously got a few levels up here, but that was a while ago. We interacted with all those. We did close the gap. It is down quite a lot, but I'm kind of liking this gap. I like the range on this one more than anything. So that might be one that I would be looking to try. Hood I did cover already, so appreciate you showing up on time, Lucian. That's awesome. I'm just kidding. But yeah, this one is another one that does have a lot of room to it. A lot of room to the upside. Good numbers that they reported. Very small move, relatively speaking, for what those numbers did. Like I said, if this reported those numbers, I think in a market 2 months ago, they absolutely would have loved it. But I do like Hood as a gap. So Hood has a sneaky little gap on it. I think the range is good. I don't know if we hit $20 today, but there's definitely some levels up there. Probably be looking for somewhere around 1938 though. Diz again. So Diz I didn't cover today. Diz I didn't cover yet. The Diz. Um Honestly, they had double beat. The revenue's good, but the stock is just not appreciating Disney. They actually did turn positive for the first time on Disney Plus. I thought the market would have liked that a little bit more. So far, nothing. But just in terms of charting, because again, news and what the company actually does compared to the charts could be two different things, and that arbitrage is usually your long-term investment. So we are into a little bit of support down here. We've fallen a lot. Today is a retest gap. I would think this one probably fades at open, to be honest, just looking at this chart. This is definitely the spot that the bulls have to hold. That also being said, I don't really have any real levels except for maybe some kind of crazy look for like a bounce off of like 85.18, something in that zone, 85.11. Look to see if something there wants to hold because this was a little bit of inverted head and shoulders. This is the neckline. So if we look back at this thing in 3 months, this could all just be one big retest right into that neckline and we bounce. But if you're playing this one bullish, it is in you're in catching a knife territory. So watch out for that. I don't really watch Jim Cramer, but I wouldn't be shocked if Bob Iger was on on Mad Money last night because I know he's a typical guest, usually right around earnings. But yeah, this one's still kind of getting clobbered. Was it a downgrade or something? Disney maintain. The one thing that they did say, I think, in the report is that the parks they're expecting lower attendance at the parks, and that's kind of the one thing that's holding them up. So maybe that's the news that's kind of bringing them down a little. Otherwise, just in terms of chart, this should be a retest gap. You're at a little bit of support. See if you get a small little pullback first, or high wave candle. I'm gonna get this one on the list. I'll push this one up a little bit. Otherwise, that is the morning bell. So everybody out on YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. And I appreciate you guys joining us each and every day. But be safe out there in the markets. It's crazy. It's crazy markets. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. Later, guys.